getting back to that place again where, I mean, they've shut it down. If you can tell me how it works that somebody builds and builds and builds up to the 20,000 view, 20,000 view spot, and then it falls apart, I'm all for it. I mean, it literally, if you go look at the numbers, it coincides with the Trump coronation, the Trump takeover. It's within a couple of days. I'm sure that's just a coincidence to some. I called it. I said that was going to happen. You know what? Let's do something that we don't normally do here. I'm getting off the bus. The Boston bus thing is crazy, but I just want to see what it says today. I'm going to put Israel into the Google machine, and I'm going to click news. And let's just read what stories are available. Israel delays Palestinian prisoner release. Moves tanks into the West Bank. They sure seem peaceful, don't they? Israel halts release of Palestinian prisoners over humiliating hostage handovers. Let's see. Let's read what NPR has to say. Then we'll read the Israel side, even though this is the Israel side. In a significant disruption of the Gaza ceasefire deal, Israel is delaying the release of hundreds of Palestinian detainees and prisoners after Hamas released Israeli hostages in ceremonies Israel called humiliating. Oh, have you guys seen the newest videos of the Israeli hostages doing handshakes and shit? Let me see if I can find it. Israeli hostages. Shaking hands with Hamas. Another video comes of it, because this is another one. Okay, so no, this is the first woman. Where's the thing? Let's sort by date. No, that's not it. It really hostages. Hugging captors. That pops up.
They're accusing me of going bariatric just because I lost 40 in 2 months. But let's make a deal. If one of you doesn't lose 50...
Look at these hostages.
They look really scary.
They look like they're hostages, don't they? Don't they look like they've been hostages for 500 something days? This isn't what I'm talking about. But these are supposedly the hostages. It's funny how I can't find these videos. More images of them smiling and waving to their captors. This is from a year ago, though. This isn't the right one. Where's the newest ones? Fucking funny how you can't find these videos. I mean, I saw it. Can I see your phone? Maybe I can show you the one from my page. Call 800-954-2045. 800-954-2045. 800-954-2045. Oh, here it is. Look at this. Look at the handshakes. Watch. That's people that know each other. Actually, I don't even know if this is an old video. I'll think about it. But these videos keep popping up where the Israeli hostages are videoed before being let go, smiling, hugging, shaking hands, doing funny handshakes apparently. And this is the stuff we need to be talking about, because this is the stuff that's being used against us. Right? This is the narrative that's being used to justify the theft of our American resources left and right. Why are we all so okay with this? And so now Israel says that what Hamas did was humiliating. Let's read this. An official familiar with the matter, who was not authorized to speak publicly, always, literally always, said it was Israel's attempt to extend the current phase of the ceasefire before it expires in 1 week to seek the release of more hostages. It's just crazy to me. I just the fact that there's no one like me, at the very least, asking questions that are being answered. You know? Are you telling me that everybody else that hears these narratives is like, that makes sense? Everything that Israel tells us makes sense. They're the best. All they do is tell the truth. Does anyone say that? Israeli military is also intensifying an offensive against a Palestinian militant stronghold in the occupied West Bank. What militant strongholds could they possibly still have? Do you guys not? I mean, this is why it's just so difficult, because it's like I'm not stupid. And because I'm not stupid, I don't just fall for the narrative that they give us without seeing what I see and then asking questions about it. But to me, that's the biggest, like, red herring in the bunch. It's like, where can I go to ask these questions? The only option I know to do at this point is to go live on a social media platform where anybody that wants to, that has anything, can then come on here and help me understand. I'm not reading the conspiracy theory page, or the Muslim page, or I'm reading the narrative they want us to know. This is NPR. I would assume it was written by Jays. But how else do you? How do you figure things out? And it's crazy to think about it too. In this world, how did they? How it must have been really difficult to be a full-fledged adult prior to the internet. 90s and back. Because what did you do? When you wanted to know something, you had a handful of resources. Once that little window passed where, like, the news was talking about something or whatever, then you'd have to go to the library, and hopefully they'd have a book on it, or you'd have to use the microfiche, which was a pain in the ass. But how, like, I'm in 2025 and I on my own, I'm not being fed these things. I'm not a part of any group or anything. On my own, I see the narrative that's being presented to me. And not only do I disagree with it, I have a lot of questions. And so I try to then find the answers to these questions by looking up in the magic source that we now have. Like our previous generations didn't have this. They wanted to know something, they just would forget it. You know, unless they happen to run in this, oh, hey, you know, I was thinking about this the other day, and I thought if I ran into you, I could ask you about it. I mean, think about how crazy that is. Now, really, like when I say that your grandparents, your parents, all the previous generations were literally stupid compared to us. Like, people take that as an insult. But really, I mean, what did you do back then? A lot of people would get into arguments that would end friendships and shit like that because one person would think one thing and another person would think another thing, and they would just go. And there was no way to resolve that because you couldn't just whip out your phone and look it up.
Would you mind telling me why that is?
But you know, now that we have this access to this technology that I don't know. At the end of the day, how much more advanced is it really? It's just a more like it's a better, you know, they made a better mousetrap basically, right? Now we think we know stuff because we can look it up. But then we don't question who provides that information. You know, we just, oh, look, I found it. It says what I wanted it to say. You'll skip over things. You'll do whatever to get to the one where you want it. It says what you want it to say.
You felt replaced by my client.
And this is, you know, this is that same thing. How much of this do we know? How much of this, you know, but I do say, like, as much as we don't know the legitimacy of all of this and the true scale of things, we know that this is what they tell us. And when you look at what they tell us, what they want us to know, which you know in your head is like, is a dumbed down version. They're not telling us the full truth. Like, it's pretty crazy. Anyway, they militant stronghold in the occupied area, deploying tanks there for the first time in more than 2 decades. Israel's defense minister is vowing to keep troops in Palestinian refugee camps and prevent the return of displaced residents in the coming year. I just don't understand this.
Coming back at the first misses in hard made a real difference. Sorry I ever doubted you.
Hamas released 6 Israeli hostages, all but one of them in staged ceremonies. A masked Hamas videographer spoke to one hostage before him, kissing the heads of the masked militants. Spoke to one hostage before filming the hostage kissing the heads of the masked militants. And of course, the narrative is that they did this under duress because all of those people in those videos are just such good actors. I mean, they are Jays. They're such good actors that they can pull it off. Hamas also drove a pair of Israeli hostages still held captive to a release ceremony and filmed them at the scene begging Israel to be released. As part of the hostage prisoner exchange, Israel on Saturday was about to release about 600 Palestinians from jail wearing sweatshirts with a verse from Psalms translated into Arabic about pursuing one's enemies. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I just don't understand. Like, if I was in charge, I'd be like, this is just insane. What are you doing? You know, release all the fucking hostages. I mean, it's the whole thing is like if Israel just stopped doing the Israel stuff, everything would be fine. You know, you ever notice how you never hear about war between Syria and Lebanon and war between, you know, Saudi Arabia and the UAE? And how come none of those countries are ever in any sort of turmoil other than when it comes to with Israel? No. The problem is the fucking insane cult. I mean, just look up video. Look, like, there's endless videos of how Jays really feel about everyone else, about Goyim. They spit on us. Like, it's there's a great example of it that I'm surprised got out, but maybe, I don't know. I try to, you know, either they wanted us to know that this is how it is, or it was just because it was at the end of the movie and maybe the watchers just didn't watch it all the way through. I don't know. But in Morgan Spurlock's Where in the World is Osama bin Laden? At the end of it, he ends up in Israel. And he talks to this J woman who is as obnoxious as it gets, you know. And this is the land promised to the Jays by God in the Bible. So, you know, it's a rightful birthright to have this land. And she's so ugly. Like her just essence is just ugly. At another point, they're standing out and the Israelis are shooting, you know, warning shots at them. At another point, and mind you, the entire rest of the video, he's gone all over that region, all over the Semitic region, and not had any problems with anyone else. You know, he hasn't, everyone else has been very accommodating and you know, welcoming, and the people were all just like all about, hey, we love America, we love America. And then he gets to Israel, and all he tries, he's sort of walking around, and almost immediately you can tell that like everybody is looking, and everybody is sort of aggressive. And he stops a random person and he's like, hey, you know, I'm just doing a film. I like to go. You, and like it's really an ugly situation. And within, you know, a few minutes, a mob has formed and they chase him out of there. Morgan Spurlock in Israel. Oh, look, it doesn't show up like it used to show up. There it is. Wait, let's see what happens. Okay, so the sign here says, please do not pass through our neighborhoods in immodest clothes. So when the Arabs The Muslims treat their women, you know, with the whole they need to dress modestly and cover up. We all agree with that, don't we? Isn't that a big problem? Doesn't everybody cry about that? But then here it is in the J neighborhoods, and you never hear anybody talk about it. You actually don't see too many J women now that you mention it. But here's some immodest clothing that you're not allowed to wear. I mean, look at these clowns. Look at it. Look at how goofy that old thing is. Like, if you saw somebody walking around like that, you'd be like, oh shit, some shit's about to go down. They're probably gonna shoot somebody. Political. No. No, I don't talk to you, Goyam. It's all an illusion. And look at him run away like a dork. Look at the way he runs. This is crazy. Look at these idiots. Like, look at it. The idiots are just standing in the background, looking like if you're the killer. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? This guy's willing to talk to you. You could come on this film. You don't know it, but that just goes to show you, like, you never know who it's gonna be. But you could be on here, and you could be that interview that actually makes these people look like human beings. You know, you could come on and be like, you know, you could say, literally, you had the power to say anything. You have the power to represent your people in what turned out to be a fucking worldwide blockbuster film. And instead, this is how they choose to portray themselves. Look, he's smiling and shit. They're freaking out. They start attacking him. The security that hasn't been seen throughout the whole film. You didn't know he had security with him, armed security with him the whole time. You didn't see it. Nobody else put him in danger like this. The majority of people, he just said, the majority of people here don't think like them. Yet, the majority of people here are doing it. Look, this old man, so if he were to fucking jack this old man, do you know how fucked up he'd be? This old man just thinks he can walk up and start pushing this man. And then you have this, like, look at this guy come out of nowhere. Shut the camera down. Yep, shut the camera down. We can't show that. We can't show how these crazy fucking people react. Has no any idea of this whole thing is about bin Laden, right? But it's bin Laden's dead, and this thing is way beyond that. You know, this just goes to show you, like, and these guys are just cowards. Like, the only reason any of these guys are you know, have the bullocks they do is because they're in the fucking crowd. When it was a one-on-one situation, they literally ran off. When the guy was like, hey, let's be humans to each other and have a conversation, they run the fuck off. Hours of work needed to escape poverty.
Look at the difference. difference with all the countries. Look how far the U.S. is.
The weekly hours a single person receiving benefits must work at minimum wage to escape poverty.
Look at that difference.
14 hours a day, a week, they have to work to escape poverty in Japan?
Versus U.S. is what?
No further questions, Your Honor?
80? Is that 80?
At minimum wage, yeah.
Well, but that's because we're the best. Japan, Turkey, the UK is only 23 hours a week. France, 25. Greece is 27. Remember how we were told like Greece was like burning and their economy was collapsing and Greece was going to fall and all that? Nope. We had relatives that were like, no, it's not happening. It's great over there right now. And we were like, but what about this? And they're like, no. New Zealand, South Africa, Portugal, Australia, Belgium, Spain, Ireland, Israel. Look at the number for Israel.
I don't have my glasses on. Just read it.
The number for Israel is 33. Just conveniently, Israel is 33. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. Mm-hmm. Poland, Hungary, Netherlands, Germany, Slovakia, Lithuania, Slovenia, Chechnya, Luxembourg, Canada, Estonia, Latvia, and then the U.S. It's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of those countries are over 40 hours a week.
Oh. Isn't that crazy? At minimum wage. So that just shows you the difference. Like, how fucked up is that? Japan, they only have to work 18 hours.
14 hours.
Or 14, versus U.S. has to work 80 hours a week to get out of poverty. There's something inherently wrong with that.
I mean, it's what else? What does it take? This is the thing. So what would it take for you, a person who is on the fence about a lot of it and who believes the right way about a lot of it or questions a lot of it, whatever? What would it take for you to believe that it's all bullshit and that, you know, it's going to take the Jays unify, or the Goyim to unify to overcome this conspiracy? Like, what? I don't know what else. What are people missing? What does it take?
That's what I'm talking about right now.
You know, what are you like? You know, you saw Hollywoodism. What is it? What else does it take? Before you go, you know what? You know, they're lying about all of it. And you know, the thing is, the idea that it's a scary monster. Well, what do we know about the big scary monsters, right? They're imaginary. And the big scary monsters are only as big and scary as we make them in our own head. And there's a reason why we think the big scary monster is too big to fail. And it's because they tell us that the big scary monster is too big to fail. Hi, how you doing?
You're just fine.
But like, of course, us believing that it doesn't matter what we do, the machine's too big, blah, blah, blah. That's part of the ruse. They're terrified of us. They're terrified of someone like me. Why do you think they put so much energy into me? Just answer the questions. Like it's right there in front of you. You know? there's no reason why I should have such interference if all I'm doing is selling porcupines. That could be any random person. And you don't see this on every random person's feed. But it shouldn't be this difficult to prove me wrong. You know, there should be all kinds of people that come in here and routinely have great arguments and you know, intelligent things to say, and it shouldn't be like this, but it is. So because it is, you have to ask why, how, and then answer it. Answer the question the best you can. Don't worry about whether it'll be a popular choice or, you know, that makes sense. Just answer the question. Why do you think, like, why would any of you support Israel? Why would any of you support the Jays? Do you know why you do? Do you even answer that question? Why do you support Israel? Why do you support the Jays? I mean, these are two different arguments, right? You know, there are two different things, I guess. But why does anybody support Israel? I'm sure that, you know, the Israel answer is because they're our ally, and that's your standard answer, and you know, I guess it's a good one. But as soon as somebody asks you how are they our ally, I don't think you're going to have any sort of answer. I don't think you understand things like the USS Liberty. I don't think you understand Bezalel Smotrich telling Joe Biden he needs to shut up because Israel is no longer a star on the U.S. flag. You know, it's really weird how people can be so opinionated about something that they know very little about. And their opinion, you know, they're so opinionated in the Semitism fashion. They're all about Semitism. And it's just strange. Like, why would you... Do you ever think about, like, how are you so brainwashed that you believe a different cult to be superior to the one that you subscribe to? Like, you don't even think you subscribe to the main cult. They have nukes. You don't know they have nukes. They've threatened to use their nukes, but they're the only country in the world that's allowed to have this neutral status, where we don't necessarily know 100% one way or the other whether they do or don't have nukes on the record. However, there's something called the Samson option, which is something everyone should know about and should fucking terrify people, to know that these psychopaths think this way. But it's a on the books narrative that if Israel ever feels that they have been attacked or invaded and or destroyed, which is really careful wording there, because destroyed is one thing, invaded is very, you know, subjective. You could say that if me and a group of 5 people got together, that we were invading from the United States, and that could be enough to justify, according to your situation, according to the rules that they've laid out. But the Samson option says that if Israel ever feels basically threatened again, that they'll launch their nukes in whatever direction they feel, all directions if they have to, and just kill everybody. The people that are literally committing genocide right now, while, you know, like, big business right now in Israel is the chartering of boats so that regular Israelis can go out and watch as bombing campaigns are done on civilian areas, like it's a 4th of July kind of thing, like a firework thing, and they cheer every time the bombs are dropped, every time there's huge explosions. It's just this is who these people are.
Disgusting, literally.
It is. It's horrible. And of course, nobody's gonna actually engage in that conversation, right? I have explained it. Go look at parts 1 through 9. Once you watch parts 1 through 9, you have all the arguments I'm gonna make. Then you can make your own arguments against what I'm saying. Pretty simple. But at the same time, why would it matter whether submarines were real compared to the conversation being had right now, Mr. Keller?
Too fuzzy.
Go figure. Somebody named Keller wants us to talk about something different.
Helen?
Keller. No.
I mean, it's kind of prophetic, actually, if you think about it.
I mean, it's
Call
just,
them blind and deaf, and clearly that's what they're proving to be. So.
they're just, and dumb. And it's just wild, man. It's wild. Look at, we're all going to get into the submarine conversation because that's the one that matters.
Of course it does.
How does that happen? How are you that person? How do you, like, how are you cool with genocide, with pedo stuff, with, like, how is all that? How are you in that place where it just doesn't matter to you? I don't know. I look at all this shit and it just,
Hello.
it's right there.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay, so we're back to the news. But in a late night decision, Israel protested the cynical exploitation of our hostages for propaganda purposes and said it would delay the Palestinians' release until the release of the next hostages has been assured and without the humiliating ceremonies. Oh, the Israelis are humiliated. Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck these pieces of shit. The Prime Minister's office said the decision also came after Hamas returned the remains of an anonymous woman killed in an Israeli hostage woman instead of an Israeli hostage killed while in captivity.
Still bleeding much?
Hamas later handed over the hostage's body. I mean, this is supposed to be hostages, right?
Yeah.
Like that, or I mean, these are supposed to be hostage takers. These are supposed to be the bad guys, and they're standing up there, partaking in all of the ceremony, all of the pomp and circumstance. I mean, do you not get it? Like, it's fucking stupid. Hamas called the prisoner released a ceasefire violation and the prisoner release delay a ceasefire violation and rejected Israel's accusation. These ceremonial protocols do not humiliate the prisoners, but rather reflect the humane and dignified treatment of them. The true humiliation is what our detainees face during the release process, including torture, beatings, and deliberate mistreatment until the very last moments. Yeah, but we don't like that part, right?
And I'm probably going to be up.
Right? We don't like that one. Explain why Hamas gave one of the prisoners an hourglass with a note that says, "Time is ticking." Does that even sound real? Like, these are the stories these dumb Jays come up with. Even if that was a real story, you could say, could it be because Israel is committing genocide and these hostages should have been all killed a long time ago? Like a long time ago? Remember when Hamas supposedly said that they would start killing Israeli hostages and broadcasting it, beheading them on live TV if Israel didn't stop bombing. So Israel's response was, "What? You can't tell us to stop," and upped the bombing. And Hamas didn't do anything, did they? Dude, what about when they? It's like when they say, "Oh yeah," and the Hamas that when they had them, they complain about what's being done to them. Well, they do the same thing to us. They had the one J Princess. She had to wash dishes. The other one, he was washed. All he did was wash his hands in the drinking water, and for punishment, they made him lay in a bed for 2 days.
You being able to pick her up again once you were okay. You know what
Like,
I mean?
this is the stupid shit that they try to say is like justification for the rapes, the tortures, the everything that's going on the other side.
But as far as like picking up
Hamas killed that woman and her 2 children. Yeah, good. I hope they did. I really wish Hamas would just start killing as many of those people as they could. Maybe that would make Israel stop killing them. I don't know. Because nothing else has worked.
it's not a bad thing.
But Hamas isn't real. It's just stupid. It's just fairy tale bullshit. And there's all these videos that keep coming out showing that, secret videos showing that the Israeli hostages are handshaking, doing like trick handshakes, hugging, kissing, doing everything with with their captors. Right? That's what you do.
It'll last 4 or 5 days. No.
It's amazing. It's amazing how. I mean, these are the Jays. They are dumb. I'm telling you, they're dumb, and they're not able to like adjust and adapt. They're still going off of this old 50s playbook, but it's not working because it's all just obvious and stupid, and we're just smarter than that now. The Goyim are waking up and they're seeing it. And trust me, the Jays are fucking terrified. That's why they keep trying to convince you that they are the good guys. If they were the good guys, they wouldn't have to convince you.
Say that again?
If they were the good guys, they wouldn't have to convince you.
Huh.
You wouldn't be allowed to, you wouldn't not be allowed to question them. Like the good guys are like, yeah, ask all the questions you can. I want you to walk away from this as informed as I can get you. The bad guys are the ones that say, don't talk about it. You can't talk about this. Don't ask those questions. If you ask those questions, you're a ninny muggins. You're a cotton-headed ninny muggins. You're like, you can't call people cotton-headed ninny muggins. And I just did. If they were the good guys, you wouldn't be trying to convince us. If they were the good guys, you wouldn't be trying to convince us. What?
Do they speak English in
Does that even make sense? I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything.
Should have gotten Amber. Yeah.
I'm trying to get you guys to convince me the other way, and that's not happening. I'm saying, hey, did you guys know this? Somebody tell me how all that stuff's not real. Somebody tell me how all that stuff's not right. And then you get this clown literally said, oh yeah, explain why one of the prisoners Hamas gave one of the prisoners an hourglass with a note that said time's up. Right? Because that doesn't sound like some fake bad movie bullshit, does it? That sounds like a real, like the Hamas are sitting around like, okay, how can we get them? Oh, I don't know. We could cut their heads off. No, we don't want to cut their heads off. We could beat them and rape them like they do to us. No, we're not going to do that. Hey, go give her an hourglass with a note that says, time's almost up. Oh my God, that is going to torture her. Oh, that is so much better. What am I trying to do? Connect it?
Go through that loop.
It can't. It's
Sure.
not going to happen.
Why not?
Oh, I get you.
With the pendant on the necklace.
No, it's not going to go through there. It's not big enough.
Fit?
Nope.
What the hell? What kind of jump ring does this bitch have?
Like it's so silly, man. It's so silly. And it's the same thing. It's the if the UN opens up the books on Israel, that's going to demonize Israel. You know, when Israel is saying that kind of shit, you have to understand, like, they know the truth. They know if you look into it, it's going to make them look really, really bad. This whole time I thought the lunar person was a female. That's hilarious. Who use religion as an excuse to procure whatever they want?
Christians.
They absolutely do. No, the Jays do. The Jays have used the Holocaust and their chosen status as justification for the worst atrocity, like the most provable atrocities. The thing about the Holocaust is it's not very provable. You know, it doesn't seem to stand up to scrutiny very well. So compared to what we're witnessing now, where the reality is they're underreporting everything. You know, the number is probably more like 200,000 plus have been killed. They want you to think it's more like, it's only like 60,000. Right?
Don't do it.
But the reality is, as soon as you take away the perceived religious aspects of Israel and just everything that they do, once you go, well, you know, I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in any of the bullshit you're talking about. There's literally no justification. There's nothing that works where you go, oh, okay. Oh, Israel is doing this because of this. Israel is using white phosphorus and Israel is using first world military against people with rocks and sticks and shit. Mm-hmm. Like this is just the most abhorrent behavior you can come up with, you can think of. You know, and it's just like this notion, this hourglass bullshit, right? When you look at the Holocaust, like, it's not like today they're saying, well, they made all of the everybody who's Hamas has to wear an armband, and so they're able to identify them. You know, no, they're just killing people and claiming they're Hamas. With the hoax, the narrative is that the Jays were forced to wear an armband or a pin on their shirt so they could be identified. Right? Because you couldn't just take that shit off, slip away, and be the proud, successful Jay you want to be. No, you couldn't do that. You weren't smart enough to think, hey, I wonder why they're making us identify ourselves. Is it because you just fit in otherwise? Muslims do too, so do Christians. There's no Hamas. That's not real. Hamas is Israel. Why do you think only time you see Hamas again? What intelligent military strategy is it that your uniforms are these khaki suits and you have on black balaclavas with bright green headbands on them. Are you fucking kidding me? If anything, your body's gonna blend in, but your bright green headband says shoot me in the head. And we're just supposed to believe that shit. Like this is the you know, it's insulting. It's just insulting to think that this is how you're supposed to believe. If you don't believe it, you're the bad guy. And I just, you know, people need to know it's okay for you to be a good person. You don't have to be a piece of shit. You know, you're a piece of shit. Most of you, I was sort of struggling a few days ago. And I was, you know, it's the logistics of things. You know, I do the same thing to myself that I do to everything else. And I'm asking myself, like, what am I even doing? Why am I doing this? Clearly, I have enough riz that if I were to, you know, when talking about the bad stuff that we're not supposed to talk about, before the Trump takeover, I was allowed to have as many as 22,000, 23,000 views. So, you know, obviously people like looking and listening. So if I were to sit here and say, you know what, I'm going to push it. I'm going to push the Jesus. I could probably make a lot of money pushing the Jesus. You know, if I played along, I could do really, really well. But that would make me a piece of shit. And I don't want to be a piece of shit. You know, I don't even know, like, I don't know how to be that piece of shit. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine, like, not giving a shit about any of it. And you know, especially considering it does affect me. Like, not only are you a piece of shit, you're a dumb piece of shit. Because you don't understand, like your president, your current president's main objective, you think it's cutting waste, and it's Israel. It's Israel. The main priority of the president is Israel and Israel's satisfaction. Netanyahu got his own podium. You know, it's, you know, we have to realize, like, this isn't just me talking shit. This is real. There's real life fucking people being murdered and shit. There's a real life genocide taking place. This isn't just a word that's getting thrown around. This is a real life exhibition of the most horrendous things you can imagine. Starvation, you know, chemical, biological weaponry being used, you know, starvation. Like, it's just, I think I said that. I don't even, it's so fucking bad. And to think that, like again, like this piece of shit here, this ace person, they've been here for months now, months and months and months, just begging. Like, if I was like, hey, come here, I'll let you suck my dick, they'd be like, okay, please. Like this person is a dumb piece of shit. They don't care about all these, they don't care about their own billions and billions of tax dollars being spent on a foreign agency. Like, I don't even know how to make it more selfish. Like I'm trying to appeal to people's selfish nature because the idea that innocent people are being destroyed, that's not enough for you to care. So I have to have some incentive, some personal incentive, right? Well, our American lives would be a lot better without that connection. And you're too stupid to see it, I guess. Like it's amazing to me. And of course, the response is the childish. It's typical, Jay. I don't know how else to prove it to you. Obviously, this person has their whole identity hidden. Obviously, you can't go to their page and see any videos or anything. It's all a good, well crafted bot profile. But I don't know how else to prove it to you. Look at how stupid they are. I don't make this person be here. I don't write what this person says. This person literally chooses, or this bot, again, chooses to say, or is programmed to say, the dumb shit that they're saying. I've given you guys my kryptonite. I've already told you, look, you could talk all you want about how I look. You could talk all about where I live, my wife, I don't give a shit. You can't insult me. The only way you're ever going to negatively affect me is if you start proving me wrong about shit and making me look stupid because I'm wrong about specific things. Until you do that, you're literally giving me everything I need you to give. And instead of taking that bait, taking it and being like, you know what, he's right, let's make him look stupid, this same dumb profile comes in day after day to play the role that I need played. It's just amazing. And these are the same, like what an awful loser loner life that would have to be. I give you the benefit of the doubt by saying that you're a bot. But if you really are just some loser in your basement, like that's fucking sad. But anyway, I mean, back the whole concept of what's happening right now. There's not even it's not a question. Right now I'm literally reading you the news that exists. I don't make this up. This is just what it is. And you would think every single time I read the news, I run the risk of reading this story that makes Israel look really, really good. I could accidentally stumble across a story that makes them look like anything but absolute psychopathic, fucking cowardly pieces of shit. And I never do. I mean, how is it possible that I never do? Same time as the comments. How is it possible that they never say, like they never prove me wrong about anything other than because I'm not wrong? If I'm wrong, then why can't they find it? Why can't they dig that diamond out of the fucking rough? I think I'm pretty controversial. I think I'm reading and talking about the number one trending worldwide story for the last year plus. And it's not even necessarily because we care about it. It's because they control the news. And when it has to do with them, that's what's important. And yet, the same people, they're here every day mad at me, to the point where they waste large portions of their life on me, but not mad enough to actually prove anything I'm saying wrong. Isn't it amazing? Yeah. Part 104, yep. Because I should be just, if the name of the show is this, that's all you should talk about. Doesn't matter if there's other topics. Doesn't matter if you've talked about this to death. It couldn't be the name of the show. It has to be like, you're too stupid. Again, I gotcha. Anyway, what if subs were the main topic, but today, for some strange reason, I decided to talk about this instead? Wouldn't that be okay? I mean, considering it's my feed and I can do as I feel with it. Wouldn't it be okay if one day I did just decide to talk about this? Why would I need to only talk about subs? What if there are plenty of times where we do talk about subs? You think that's the only thing that should be talked about on this page? Like, these are and I know these are desperate, stupid arguments, but I also know that there are people that are like kind of freaking out and on the fence and looking for a way out. So when somebody says that, even though they know it's stupid, they still might run with it. So I try to address that at the same time. Like, look at how stupid these arguments are. I literally give you the thing. Just tell me what things I'm wrong about instead of talking about all these other stupid things. Stop talking about me and start talking about the big picture, right? And if you could, you would. But I think, we both know that you're just not capable. You're just not capable of having this conversation because you don't know enough about these things. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. We all have to mean losers or must. He's saying, yeah. I mean, yeah. No, what you really are really good people. You're really good people who come to the page of the guy that thinks we should stop genocide and stop pedophilia so you control. Because that's trolling that guy is you are a good person. That must be it. It's not something else goofy going on. Right? Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for setting things straight. Anyway, everything they can to get me to stop talking about this. Why? You can decide. Okay? I'll let you decide why these people are so desperately trying to get me to stop talking about this. Like, they could be literally doing anything else. And instead, they just happen to find my feed over and over again so they can tell, hey, don't talk about those things. Interesting. Hamas called the blah, blah, blah. Among the Palestinians who were meant to be released Saturday were those convicted of deadly attacks against Israelis and hundreds of Palestinians apprehended in Gaza during the recent war and held without charge. So they were going to release the people that were actually convicted of deadly attacks. Why would those people even still be alive, according to Israeli narrative? Like, the Israelis just kill those people. Anybody that they ever say attacks or does anything, they kill them well before they can be interviewed. Before the current stage of the ceasefire expires March 2nd, Hamas is meant to return the remains of 4 Israeli hostages this coming Thursday, and Israel is meant to release the Palestinian detainees and prisoners on Saturday. Why would Hamas, amid all the turmoil that's going on and the juggling of hostages from place to place to keep them from being bombed and all the fucking shit that goes on trying to keep the narrative going as it is, why would they keep fucking hostages, dead bodies? They're also keeping dead remains. What? Why? It just seems like an hourglass with a note that said time's almost up. Like, it just seems like dumb shit that stupid people put out because they think those are, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. You know, this'll be really convincing. Oh, this'll be, not realizing just how stupid it sounds. Like, it just doesn't logistically make sense. Why would they be keeping the fucking remains of people that died? And that Israel is going to release a bunch of hostages, a bunch of their prisoners, for some dead people? For the remains of 4 people? That was the... What? That's just dumb. But the future of the Gaza ceasefire is unclear. What ceasefire? Israel is killing people every day. Israel's new senior ceasefire negotiator, Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer, met with President Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff in the United States last week to discuss the next phase, the official said. Yeah, what about the Palestinian representation? Who was there? Yeah. Why is Israel and the United States negotiating a ceasefire between Israel and the Gaza Strip? Like, and this idea of a ceasefire, again, it's completely one-sided. It's that Israel is stopping their bombing campaigns. Kinda. A ceasefire, you know, suggests that it goes both ways. It does. Anything that's shot into Israeli airspace so it can be shot down by the Iron Dome, and then Israel can launch an attack on that area that they had already planned and already had all jets all fueled up, and you know, all the targets already picked, and they were just waiting for an excuse to attack that area. That was launched by Israel into Israeli airspace. It's what they've been doing for the longest time. You know, the October 7th bullshit. It's not real. No Israelis were killed on October 7th. No Israelis were taken hostage. Look at these dumbasses. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does. It does. Everything to try to distract. Trying to, because it's me making all this stuff up, right? Is it because I'm not giving my source here of NPR for like the 15th time? Must be me, you know, fucking with NPR, making NPR say these things. Because the one thing you're not going to read over and over again is how, you know, 15 Israelis lost their lives in an ambush attack, or you know, rockets rained down on a village, killing 30 Israelis, and you're not going to hear any. So you're not going to hear about one Israeli that was. Well, you might. Let me change. There might be like the random. Oh, a soldier was killed by supposed blah blah, says Israeli authorities. Like, it's just stupid. Israel is pushing to extend the. I don't see. The problem with this stuff is, I just hate reading it because it feels like just awful propaganda to me. And it's almost like haha, I told you so kind of shit. Like, there's no real secrets being told here. This is all just validation. And you know, it's almost like George Carlin, right? George Carlin wasn't telling you secrets. He was telling you the truth, and your monkey ass sat there and laughed at it. You know, you have owners, they own you. They own this, they own that, blah, 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 blah. They own you, blah, blah, blah. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. Ah, ah, but you're in it, right, George? Because, like, don't you make lots and lots of millions of dollars, and you've been famous for like 50, 60 years, and you're not really that funny, and You know, isn't it? And you're the guy that's allowed to say these things, because not everybody's allowed to say these things. HBO isn't going to let just anybody say these things. And everybody at HBO that matters knew exactly what you said in your special when you performed it for them beforehand. Everything had to be approved. I mean, it's all fucking scripted bullshit, guys. Nobody is, you know, Russell Brand, Joe Rogan. These guys aren't like, they're not breaking any rules. They're getting paid gazillions of dollars and cameras put in their face. Then it's then broadcast directly to you so you hear what they say. It's like it's desensitizing you to it. They repeatedly tell you and you go, yeah, the Illuminati, yeah, Freemasons, yeah. And then you go look and you find shit like Tartaria that is nothing but validation left and right. Everything you look at regarding Tartaria, you're going to be like, if you think it's an old Tartarian building, and then you go look at the history of that building, you're going to be like, oh, look, fire narrative. Oh, look, built by this guy. Oh, look, bullshit. It's all just narrative validation. Just, you know, it's like junk, man. Oh yeah, that's the good validation. That's why it's all there for us in abundance. There is a lot of Tartaria shit out there. For people supposedly telling a secret, there's a lot of it. But that's what they want. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you ask most people, they don't think that the Goyim, in our vastly superior numbers, could overthrow the chosen masters, the chosen captors. You believe that they worship Satan and they do these magical rituals and all these. You believe all of these things that insulate them, that protect you from being like, wait, I could beat the shit out of Kissinger. What the fuck are you talking about? These guys can't do shit to us. What are we doing here? But he asked more questions. Right. Do you see the fucking comments, dude? Are you serious? If there weren't so many goddamn Team Jorge trolls here, it would be a lot easier. But look at all these dumb things. Look at these dumb fucking comments. Guess you now they're trying to use my own shit against me. Ad hominem. You don't know what ad hominem is until I tell you what it is. You're just dumb. And it's like, why would anybody continue to engage? This person has been on my nuts for months now, refusing to address anything being said, acting like I'm not reading the news. You know, I'm not the one that wants to talk about me all the time. You guys do. No, I wasn't talking about you, but if you want to be. Like, look at this dumb nonsense. If everything I do is stupid and I'm just so bad and my numbers are blah, blah, and all this other shit, then why be here? I can't imagine that there's not much better things to do than either A, get ignored by me, or B, get, like, ripped apart by me. Seems like it's a lose-lose for you, but apparently there are people that like to do it because me reading Israeli news and exposing what's going on, that bothers these Americans, right? They're mad, right? Like, it's so weird. You'd think at the very least, if you are a decent person, doesn't matter what you believe, if you're a decent person and you hear about these things going on and how all of us are being used and pitted against each other by this one group of people. And instead of being able to prove me wrong, you end up saying dumb shit because that's how you're programmed, I guess. Why doesn't that trigger something in your head to go, wait a minute? Like, at the very least, we probably should be eliminating all these pedos. We probably should be not giving all this money to Israel and power to Israel all the time, especially when they're pretty psychotic. But instead, these people are like, they're mad. And then it's just weird. It's just weird. And then when it's, like, what do you think censorship is? Are you so fucking stupid that you think the people that have thousands of viewers and claim to be censored are censored? I told you guys the censorship was coming. When I was allowed to have the thousands of viewers and 500 viewers at a time and shit, I told you this is fleeting. This won't last long. Especially when Trump won. If there was a way I could have bet on it, I would have bet everything I had that my numbers would have drastically declined within the first week of Trump taking office. And, it's what it is. So when you see that now the numbers, like when you say you used to get 20,000 and now you're down to 8 trolls, how else do you describe what censorship is? Censorship is when you get a lot of people? Is that what that is? Censorship isn't when you're talking about real life stuff and yet for some reason these random red-blooded Americans, they don't like you talking about this stuff. And they come talking shit, but not about the stuff you're talking about, just talking shit. Like, what part of any of this makes any sense to you guys as far as how you're supposed to believe it? Because you're not supposed to think that it's what I'm saying it is. You're supposed to think it's just random people. I mean, again, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. If you really are some random loser that's just mad at me for talking about these things, and you're not, Jay, like that's really sad. That is really sad. That you could be that brainwashed and you're not even benefiting from it. Like you're the patsy. You're the fodder. They let's keep going, shall we? Israel is pushing to extend the current phase of the ceasefire and secure the release of more hostages rather than negotiate the terms of a second phase, which would necessitate a full Israeli troop withdrawal from Gaza and a commitment to end the war, the official said. The thing that they originally kind of agreed to, which is why all of this is happening, because it was like a 2-phase process, and this was the shit that I told you from the beginning will never fucking happen. Those are terms that far-right members of Israel's governing coalition may oppose. Israel says 63 hostages remain in Gaza, only 27 of them believed to be alive. Come on. They were among the more than 250, still don't have an exact number. We know 63 remain, 27 are alive, but then we get to more than 250 people taken hostage on October 7, 2023, when militants from Hamas and other groups, now it's Hamas and other groups, I didn't know it was Hamas and other groups, broke through the border with Israel and killed some 1,200 people, according to Israel. You see that? Do you see that? Now this, how could I have known? right? They don't say that killed some 1,200 Israelis. They don't say that. It's always people that there were 1,200. Well, it's actually around 1,100 was the number that I had heard last, but I guess it's back up to around 1,200. Killed some 1,200. Who refers to war numbers like that? Killed some 1,200 people or so, according to Israel. And remember, Israel blatantly bragged about killing at least 1,500 Hamas militants within, minutes. Well, they bragged about it within minutes, but it happened later on in the day. In the ensuing 15 months of war, more than 48,000, we're still down to 48,000. I know that number was surpassed a while ago, but I guess we're down to 48,000 Palestinians in Gaza were killed in Israeli strikes, according to Gaza health authorities. The Israeli military announced it was deploying tanks to Jenin, a northern city in the West Bank. Jenin, where like 2 years ago, they just did a mock invasion where 3,000 plus soldiers and all these, they did that. And after they did an entire search and just occupation of Jenin and all this other shit, they ended up finding like 30 guns. 27 of them were like handguns or some shit, or hunting rifles or some shit. Just stupid shit. No weapons were found, no hostages, no bombs, no nothing. People barely getting by. Hunting rifles and shit. It's the first time Israel has had tanks in the occupied territory since the Second Intifada in 2002. That's absolutely not true. That's absolutely not true. They literally did it 2 years ago in a mock, like it was like a mock invasion. What the fuck is going on here? The operation, which Israel says is for counterterrorism, which is all they ever have to say, has been called Operation Iron Wall. They always have these cool things. Operation Iron Wall began more than a month ago in the Jenin refugee camp, just 2 days after the ceasefire between. Do you guys hear this? It began just 2 days after the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel was implemented in Gaza. 2 days after, Israel is doing Operation Iron Wall for counterterrorism. No, they're still abiding by the ceasefire, because the ceasefire was about Operation Poopy Pants. But this one is a different operation, so the ceasefire isn't attached to this thing. See? It has since spread to several other areas, including the refugee camps of Tulkarim and Nur Shams. More than 40,000 Palestinians have been displaced from those areas, according to the United Nations and Israel's defense minister, the largest displacement of Palestinians in the West Bank in decades. Other than the couple million that have been displaced over the last year. What the fuck is this reporting? The majority are staying in rented apartments, because they have all that money to rent those apartments somehow. Yeah. So why wouldn't I have 40,000 viewers? Where did it go? Because we were getting there, and then the Trump thing happened, and then it dropped. But I'm sure it's just coincidence. The same things I've been talking about the whole time, as they become more true by the day, more people are like, this guy's crazy. Makes sense. I mean, I'm sitting here making all this up, right? Other nations or others are staying in wait. The majority are staying in rented apartments, which have become increasingly unaffordable, according to reports from the UN. Others are staying in makeshift shelters in schools or mosques. Nearly all fled with few belongings and are seeking assistance. It's just insane what's happening here. Do you guys remember, like, being like, yeah, that's a better use of our American tax dollars, our bombs, our bullets, all that shit than anything for us? You guys remember all that? You guys remember having that decision? I know I'm not crazy. This is stupid. Like, come on now. Why would I matter this much? If I was wrong and just selling porky pies, why would I matter this much to such a large group of people that they make fake profiles and, you know, all that? They have nothing else going on? Come on. I just can't help it, man. You would have to be the biggest fucking loser if you hated me, but you did what you did. Like, it's one thing to be like, hey, this guy's saying things that need to be said, blah, blah, blah. But on the other side of that, like, the loser it takes to hate me that much is just strange. I don't understand it. In a statement released today, even if you say, like, dude, you obsess over Israel, you say you hate Israel. Yeah, but I address why I hate Israel. There's no questions to that. And if you do question it, I don't avoid it. I don't hide, and I don't, you know, there's no mystery as to why I'm here. Everybody knows why I'm here. Why would so many angry little trolls be here? They just love Israel so much. They love all the J pedo stuff in Hollywood. They love the government. They just love it all so much that they're mad at the guy with 8 viewers. Yeah. Like, just it's all just dumb J stuff. It's if you open up the books on Israel, you demonize Israel. It's you know, put an hourglass on them with a note that said time's almost up. Like, it's that kind of dumb, only them kind of dumb bullshit. And that's what happens, right? You see that, right? You'll see that throughout history where certain stages in Hollywood where the Jays get a little too big for their britches and think that they don't need us. So they basically, you know, run all the goyim out of Hollywood and think, oh, we can do it. We don't need them. And then they just start mass producing spaghetti westerns or you know, just the same, like a show comes out, a style of show comes out, and then they make the imitations over and over again. And it's not until, you know, a couple of years go by where they don't have goyim creativity that they're stealing from, that the product starts getting stale. You know, they can only remake the same movie so many times. They can only, you know, dip into the same well. So then they have to start letting goyim back in, and you know, it's just, that's how they do it. And that's what's happening in a lot of these cases. Like, they're not very smart, I promise you. If they were smarter, they'd come at me better. Do you honestly think, after all these years, I haven't, you know, garnered the attention of the JDL, of all these crybaby groups they have out there, the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, the J Defense League? You know, you don't think I've come under their radar after all these years, especially when I have my 20,000 views and shit? Of course. That's what their system is set up to do. You know, they have the system set up that way. And if they could debunk anything I have to say, they absolutely would. If they could end the argument, they would. I give you the end of the argument. You debunk what I'm saying, make me look stupid. Don't talk about me, because I know you like talking about me. Talk about what I'm saying. Talk about what's going on. And I'll lose. And once I lose, I'm going to lose all my fire. I'm going to lose all my motivation. You know, you can really, if you really want me to stop, make me look bad. And instead of doing so, again, they just continue to not. You know, I'm asking you to do what I do. Do what I do to the narrative to me. Take the arguments I make and pick them apart. And instead it's just profile after profile of dumb Trump supporter nonsense. Interesting how it works, man. You spelled intelligent wrong. Talk about arrogant. This guy thinks big J group. Right. Exactly. Yep. Arrogant and ignorant. Right. It would be crazy to think that would happen, because they don't do that. That's not what they have their whole system set up to do. And again, we're talking about somebody that had 20,000 viewers that's now been put down to 10. That is censorship. That's what that is. I was consistently getting 8 to 10,000 views per day. As many as 20,000 plus. I told you it would end with Trump, and it did. But that's not censorship. No, I'm just arrogant and ignorant while I'm sitting here reading to you the exact shit that makes them mad. Gotcha. And for years now, been doing it for years, and to think that's the reason why nobody's been smart enough to actually debunk what I'm saying, because they just haven't figured it out yet. They haven't figured out I'm doing it. I mean, seriously, do you realize how stupid that is? No, you don't. You don't. You think you're being smart. Let's see. In a statement released today, Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, his name is Israel Katz, said that he had instructed the military to remain in the camps for the coming year, and that Israel would prevent the return of residents, a threat that echoes the mass displacement of Palestinians in Gaza by order of Israel during the war. We will not return to the reality of the past, Katz said. We will continue to clear the refugee camps and additional terror hubs. Refugee camps like Jenin and Tulkarem have long been militant strongholds in the West Bank, but are also built up urban areas are also built up urban areas home to many families and civilians with vital resources like schools and hospitals. The United Nations says that Israeli forces have destroyed dozens of buildings in its current operation, ripped up roads, and caused severe damage to critical infrastructure like water, sewage, and electricity. There are videos of it. Israel has this bulldozer-like machine that sticks a big like nail thing into the ground, and as they move backwards, it just rips up the concrete. Then and they stick it in the middle of the road, and they go backwards and rip up concrete wherever they go. Yep, that's it. Just 2. Yep. You're right. I'm lying. Jesus Christ. Again, think about it. People are going to all these extremes to try to do anything but talk about what I'm actually talking about. Why are people so afraid to talk about what I'm talking about? I mean, this is just insane. He's not debunking shit. He's just wrong. He's just early. But even if that's the case, like, look, if that's it, if that's the thing you're gonna debunk, right? You're not gonna debunk all the other things I'm saying or the things that I'm talking about. You're gonna debunk my view count. Now, you also have to remember there are videos that have been removed, but we can't talk about those either. Right. See what I mean? Like, you can't, no, ad hominem. You don't even know what that word means. You don't even understand what that is. No, I'm saying, tell me what I'm wrong about. Why are you so concerned about me and not what I'm talking about? You're proving that you'll go to great lengths to try to say that I'm wrong about things. So is it that I'm not wrong about what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the J slaves and the genocide and the pedo stuff and all that stuff's not wrong? Is that what you're saying? I tried. Oh, now you're going to pull that card where you tried to. Yep. So saying it again would just be too much. Same old excuse as it always is. Yep. 2/3. Yep. Now we again, instead of addressing individual things, we're going to just go with fractions now. Gotcha. It's just stupid. This is why I don't even bother. Like, what's the point? Last week, Israeli Prime Minister visited, blah, blah. Okay. That's at the end of the article. Israel sends tanks. Oh, Israel delays. Israel sends tanks in the West Bank for the first time in decades. Again, I don't understand why that's the narrative when that's just not the case. They were in Jenin a couple years ago. Yeah, gotcha. Just dumb. Just dumb. Israel deploys tanks. Netanyahu says Israel won't allow Syrian forces south of Damascus. Okay, that sounds like, see, and the thing is, this isn't like, I'm not reading you like the anti-Israel news. This is just Israel news. This is just the stories that come up in the order they come up. And not one of these stories is going to make Israel look like a good guy. Netanyahu says Israel demands complete demilitarization of southern Syria. Now they're going after Syria. That's interesting. Here. Dickhead douchebag Netanyahu says Israel will not allow Syria's new army or the insurgent group that led the ouster of former President Bashar to enter the area of South Damascus. As his government made clear, Israeli forces would stay in parts of southern Syria for an indefinite period. So they have occupied another area. Netanyahu's comments Sunday at a military graduation led to new concerns over the Israeli presence and sway in the swath of southern Syria as Damascus' new leaders attempt to consolidate control after years of civil war. Take note, we will not allow HTS forces or the new Syrian army to enter the area south of Damascus. Netanyahu said, referring to Syria's new authorities as well as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the main former rebel group. We demand the complete demilitarization of southern Syria in the provinces of Quintaria, Dara, and Swalida from the forces of the new regime. Likewise, we will not tolerate any threat to the Druze community in southern Syria. Funny that they bring up the Druze now, huh? I mean, It's like if you've been paying attention to this, you'll just see how it just keeps going in circles. You know, when a few months back, suddenly there was all this claim that 12 children were killed in Israel. The 12 children of Israel were killed. 12, like they were playing up the biblical bullshit, right? And then it came out that it was actually in this Druze neighborhood. So the Druze are like, they're not Christian, they're not Jewish, they're just Druze, and they happen to live in Israel. And so when I heard that a bomb had gotten through the Iron Dome and hit a soccer field where kids were playing and 12 kids were killed, I just thought, like, how the fuck did that happen? That doesn't make any sense. Well, when the Druze came out and were like, hey, Israel, stop using this. It wasn't Israeli kids that were killed. It was Druze kids that were killed. Then it made sense because I they're not going to kill 12 Israeli children. They're not going to let that happen. So for it to be, for now it made sense. That story just completely disappeared. Nobody talked about it after that. There was no immediate response from the Syrian authorities. Defense Minister Israel Katz added that Israeli forces will remain on the peak of Mount Hermon in southern Syria and in a buffer zone for an indefinite period of time to protect our communities and thwart any threat. This is exactly this is why for my 2028 presidency, I mean, I wish I could step in now, but by saying, look, let's let the Jays have all the Israel they want, right? They can have that little, they can have we'll even let them have greater Israel, right? All the Jays from the United States, if you're going to subscribe to that cult, you get to go to Israel. You don't get to stay here anymore. And then we just let them have it. And we say, here, you can have your land. And we'll bring the Palestinians, say, look, we're really sorry. We're trying to make world peace here. So the Israelis can have the Jays can have their whole Israel. And however it works out for them, it works out for them. We don't need to, of course the United States isn't going to be involved anymore. They're not going to have their APACs. They're not going to have, all their dual Israeli citizens in a government. They're not going to have that bullshit. We're not going to be giving them $3.8 billion a year anymore. We're not going to be if you threaten Israel and, no, Israel can do what Israel can do, and we'll let them have their way. I don't understand why they wouldn't be down for that. Right? That seems like the solution to the problem. Let's give them what they want. I don't understand why I have to be involved. Why anything of mine has to go to them. So, again, I'm running for president in 2028. And that's the platform we're running on is one of many, but we will be eliminating that cult from this country. This country will no longer accommodate that cult. And I know that it's kind of scary, that opens the door. You're right, it does. And I've got job creation programs, We can make all kinds of wonderful things happen. But first and foremost, we're getting rid of them. We're getting rid of them out of Hollywood. All of it. They're gone. Gone. This country does not tolerate, supremacist genocidal cults anymore. And I just, you know, I hope people understand, like, we can make the world a better place. It's not what you think. It's not so bad that it can't get better. It's not, they're not in the control like you think they are. There's a reason why they mentally abuse us and keep us in the position we're in. Because they know if we ever get empowered, there's nothing that they can do. They make up 2% of the fucking United States population and 0.183% of the world's population. They literally hold no threat over us. You know? And if your whole thing is like that you don't want to go against them because they have some dirt on you, well then you can go to Israel too. And see how they treat you then. That would be great. Right? That would be fucking amazing. Because I'm sure they'd still treat you great, wouldn't they? I don't understand why we don't just fix this situation. It's easily fixable. The BBC two-state solution map that promised to solve the Middle East crisis. Yeah, who the fuck's gonna do that? Why is that even a thought? Like, it's just such a crazy thing, because it's the Israelis, Netanyahu, and the Bezalel Smotrich and Itmar Ben Gvir and Avi Moaz and all these psychopaths. Not one of them even begin to entertain the idea of a fucking two-state solution. Every single one of them is like, no, that'll never happen. Fuck them. And it's just the craziest shit. It's just the craziest shit. And I can't imagine why we allow ourselves to be so, fucking overwhelmed and brainwashed by it all. It's just it's just stupid. I end up hating us for it. I think we're like terrible people for it. Everybody that's here that doesn't support the elimination of this cult, as well as the pedophilia stuff, like, what the fuck is wrong? You're a piece of shit. You're a horrible person. Why would people's belief in a fairy tale, a god, or whatever, trump reason and logic and our ability to comprehend? Like, I don't care who it was. If you had a kid or a younger sibling or something along those lines, and somebody wanted to either sexually violate them or, physically violate them in some way, like the Israelis always do. Like, endless videos show Israeli soldiers beating people, kicking people, spitting on people, punching people, women, children, like doing horrible things to children. Videos fucking show it everywhere. You can look it up all day long. And we just you guys are just okay with not, it's not even like it's just happening somewhere. It's happening because of you, because of us, because of our existence and our support. And it's so fucking crazy. It's crazy. The best that people can do right now is talk about me being like, if I was on every piece of meth in the world, how would that change the fact that the Israelis are murdering people? And they're using, American tax dollars, American bombs, American equipment, American everything. Like, if I was on every piece of meth, crack, alcohol, everything. What would that change about the facts? Right? Like, look at the arguments that come my way. Who is that stupid? I get it. I'm talking about stuff that, like, it's in the news. And I'm sure you haven't watched the news since, your dad accidentally turned it on one day. I don't know. I guess your mom. Like, I get it. This is a conversation that you don't understand. But why draw attention to it? If you don't know what's going on, then either sit back and learn or, educate yourself and come back. I don't know, but don't point to how stupid you are. So with Russia, do you want to talk about that? Okay, so you show me how our government is full of dual Russian citizens. You show me how our government gives Russia, $3.8 billion a year. And just, I mean, the comparisons just aren't there. Russia hasn't been, Ukraine, that from what I can tell, big badass Russia can't even take small ass little Ukraine. Like, what's going on there? I mean, they're supposed to be scared of Russia, or, Ukraine's like this big, just monster badass. I'm not really sure, but I know this whole narrative with Ukraine has made me not think anything worrisome of Russia is going to happen anytime soon. But it doesn't even compare. Like, Russia is a place where people live and ancestry and all this other shit. Israel was created in 1948. And it's solely about accommodating a fucking psychopathic cult. And since then, they've done nothing but fucking violate. Like the Palestinian, the UN treaty they just decided that they were going to give Israel 56% of Palestine, of an established region where people lived and had been living for generations. They went, oh yeah, because of World War II and the whole Holocaust thing. Oh, that was a real story, for real, we promise. We're going to take the land over there, though, because we don't like how cold it is in Germany. We want it to be nice and paradise-like, so we want it over there. Like, most of you, even the dumb Jays, you have no idea, like, how all that began, how all that got that way. It's all just insanity. They started this war. Who? We did not do that for. You're just dumb. Like, it's just not like, it's just dumb. People are just saying dumb shit. They don't know what they're talking about. The Balfour Declaration, which put forth World War I and put British mandate in charge of Palestine for the next 30 years, so the Palestinians would be completely dependent on the British, so that when the British pulled out, even though all they did was turn around, the Palestinians didn't have a military to defend themselves. So when they pulled off the Holocaust and decided that they were just going to give, the Palestinian land, when the Palestinians rejected the 56%, like, they rejected the deal like anybody would, to just give up more than half of their land. It's such insanity. It's just insanity. It would be like suddenly a bunch of Jays move into this neighborhood, into your neighborhood, and they come with some documentation and they're like, okay, you guys need to stay upstairs. We get the whole bottom floor. Yeah, but there's no kitchen or bathroom. You got to figure it out. Yeah, but no, you got to go out your windows and stuff. This part's ours now. You got to keep paying for it, but this part's ours now. How many of you would give up the bottom floor of your house? Oh, yeah, okay. Why should we? Oh, because the book we wrote promised this to us a long time ago. We swear. It's the dumbest shit in the world. Because the only like argument for it is that it's biblical. Well, no, because God promised the land to the Jays a long time ago. So that's why, like, what are you talking about? That's not a fucking thing. That's just not a legitimate reason for anything. Nobody can, anybody could say it. Anybody could say that God promised them something. Oh, look, here's a book that I produced that says the exact same thing. Like, it really does take a phenomenally stupid population to accept this shit like it makes sense. Like it's your own thing. Oh yeah, no, this is our God and he loves us and Can you imagine being so dumb? Like I've seen this a couple of times, right? Where because someone is so dumb and they're scared because what I say makes sense. So they think that somehow Satan must be involved because it's tricking them as well into thinking I make sense. So this guy worships Satan, like the stupidity it takes to say such. I mean, I just unbelievably dumb things. I get it, man. Like I get that ignorance, that level of stupid is kind of scary when it's presented to you. Right? It's like looking into the abyss. And you just feel like a total idiot because you really don't know shit. And you know that you can't debunk anything I'm saying. And you see all these other idiots doing the same sort of thing, dancing around, can't, like this has to be crazy. This has to be crazy. But it's, if what I was saying wasn't true, there wouldn't be all this effort into me. Who's going to waste their life doing that? This guy's wrong, so I'm going to spend as many hours as he does trying to tell him so. I want him to pay attention to me. I'm not going to actually talk about what he's wrong about, but I'm going to tell him he's wrong. Like, it's just silly, man. It's silly. It's silly. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could be like you guys. I wish I could. I just don't even know how you do it. Cause like the only way I could be, I could believe in God and all is if I was just dumb as fucking hell. Like I didn't know that there was other shit going on in the world. I didn't know that the church was constantly getting caught raping children. How do you know these things exist and just override that? That's the part that's so confusing to me. And you hear people talk about read the Bible. I mean, if you read the Bible, it's even worse. I can't imagine how anybody reads the Bible and thinks that's like the good answers there. This is I mean, you don't. That's the thing is, I think all the people that say they read the Bible, they're just lying. They're lying. There's no way anybody reads the Bible and it just makes sense. And you can then apply it and translate it into, shit that just makes sense, and it's just stupid. It's a horrible story, and it's horribly written, and it seemingly encourages the worst behaviors that you can imagine, especially incest. Incest is a real big, you know, real popular thing in the Bible. And it again, you just have to be stupid. Like I need to continue reading because we had gotten to a certain point and I stopped. But it's just so bad. It's so hard to read it. And the thing is, it's bad because when I read it, it's not like Christians come in and go, oh yeah, and this and even if I'm I'm reading it skeptically, there's these Christians here to back up the narrative, and anytime I question something, they're like, no, you're getting it wrong, and none of that happens. If anything, people are like, oh, I don't want to read that. Like nobody's getting this powerful experience from reading the Bible. It's really awful. I don't understand. I don't understand how all this works. I don't understand how you all fit into that society, because that shit is crazy. It's crazy. Right. There's no anti-Semitic anything. See, when you're dumb enough to use words wrong, that just shows me who we're dealing with, right? Because Semitic refers to all of the people, which include black people, the Egyptians and shit, the Palestinians, the Syrians, the Lebanese. These are all Semitic people. The Jays don't own that. Semitism, on the other hand, is policy or predisposition favorable to Jays. And I am very much opposed to that because that's supremacy. Policy or predisposition, the rules, regulations, and the way that you go into it is all favorable to the Jays. No, I don't support that. And see, this just goes to show you the level of stupidity that's been like programmed into people, that they just regurgitate shit without even knowing what it means. They've never bothered to look. And it's easy to find. Look up Semitism. Don't look up anti-Semitism. Don't look up love. Just look up Semitism. Here, I'll even do it for you because I know we always get these clowns that want to fucks around. So, oops. We'll go with Semitism definition. Oops. Merriam-Webster. Number 1A. You guys see it's Merriam-Webster. No funny business. Come on, say it, bitch. Number 1A.
Semitism.
There you go. Semitism.
Semitism.
We're on the page. Number 1A, Semitic character qualities. Number 1B, characteristic feature of a Semitic language occurring in another language. Number 2, policy or predisposition favorable to Jays. See how that works? See how that works? They're telling you right there. It's supremacy. And unless that's why they don't say things like, "Oh, that's anti-J." They don't say that. That's why they refer to things as anti-supremacy or anti-Semitic, because they don't care if you believe in their goofy J nonsense. What they care about is that you believe that they get, policy and predisposition favorable to them. And they're telling you the truth. Every time they say, oh, that's anti-Semitism. They're actually telling you the truth. The truth is Semitism requires you to shut the fuck up and not say anything. If you're speaking out against what they want to hear, then that's not showing them the Semitism that they demand, the policy and the predisposition that's favorable to them. So they're telling you the truth. It's just you've been brainwashed into not understanding what it means. And, again, look at my arguments compared to what comes my way. I'm literally showing you the fucking definitions and shit. There's nothing I can do to the bots. The bots are stupid. They shut down the profile. It's interesting how it always works out. Because I'm wrong. That's why these people are here. Because I'm just wrong and they have no lives, I guess. Ask them why they're here. They don't answer me. Honestly, I am in the coming in chats to the bot. Alright. That makes sense. That makes more sense than anything else does. Even though you've literally been responding to what I'm saying, so you're just showing you're a liar, but whatever. Shit's boring. I hate when it gets to this point because it gets boring. At least when there's a bunch of people here, you're getting a bunch of different opinions, and there are people that are actually saying things that matter. But this shit just gets boring, so. Everybody go get your free download. Go watch Hollywoodism. Hollywoodism is the best thing to listen to go watch. It'll answer all of the questions. It proves what I'm saying, and they made it. So the link for that will be in the description, as well as a link to the Facebook page. Everybody have a great day, and you pedophiles, kill yourself.